Welcome to the Locked In Baseball Podcast. I'm William Locke. He is Luis Barranco. It is Friday, January 16th. Luis, the rich get richer. The Colorado Rockies have signed Willie Castro to a 2-year deal. The biggest news I can think of for this podcast.
Gotta love to hear it. They get on the board. We love it. We love it. How you doing, my guy?
I'm doing well. Obviously, some major news out of Los Angeles. Right as I was about to go to bed last night, I am an early, early riser, early going to bedder. I don't know what the phrase is. And I was like, we were deciding on if we were going to record today or Saturday because we felt like the Tucker thing was going to come to a conclusion pretty soon. Sure enough, right as I'm about to go to bed, Tucker to the Dodgers. So obviously that's going to be the biggest thing we talk about today. But we also had a trade. Nolan Arenado, Ranger Suárez signed with the Red Sox. The Yankees made a trade. Kind of feels totally irrelevant now that Kyle Tucker signed, if we're being honest.
Josh Lowe, Gavin Lux, three-way trade with the Reds and Rays, and I forgot who the third team is. It's truly 2026, man. I have no words. I mean, it's just like last night. I was at a dinner last night. It was my friend's birthday, and we're at dinner, and we're deciding to do that. It's 40 degrees down here in Miami. Everybody is freezing themselves to death here. It's like taking a fish out of water, damn near. And then I start getting yelled at because what the fuck? Question mark. I'm like, is he getting mad at me? Because
he thought I was getting mad at you.
And then I was like, oh, crap. Kyle Tucker just signed with the Dodgers. I was like, oh, boy. I was freezing my butt off yesterday, and it was bad. Not freezing my butt off, but, for Miami's perspective, it was 40 freaking degrees, and Kyle Tucker signed. I was like, yeah, this is great. Dinner was outside last night, which was even funnier. So it's on the river.
So brave of you. Meanwhile, in Chicago, it's going to be like 5 degrees for the Bears playoff game on Sunday, which is
I will be there live and direct, not in Chicago, but I will be in the area, in the same zip code, but in the same vicinity this weekend.
Yep. Let's dive into it. Dodgers sign Kyle Tucker. One of the biggest free agent signings. Obviously, it is the biggest one of this winter. One of the biggest free agent signings of recent memory. This is right up there with the Juan Soto deal in terms of just the ramifications or the shockwaves it sent through the sport. So the Dodgers did it. They are in agreement. 4-year, $240 million deal. The deal includes $30 million in deferrals and will come with an approximate $57.1 million annual value for luxury tax purposes. Tucker receives a $64 million signing bonus, all of but $10 million is paid up front. And he can opt out after the second or third seasons. Obviously there's a lot of conversation to be had about this, what it means for the sport, what it means for the Dodgers next season, what it means for a potential lockout, just ownership ramification, everything. I mean, this is, the rich truly do get richer here. I predicted this before the offseason. It seemed like we took the circuitous route to get there. The Dodgers were not at the forefront of negotiations for the majority of this winter, but they come in at the end, kind of as they do in these free agent negotiations. It seems like they're not necessarily always the first team mentioned, except with, of course, Ohtani and Yamamoto. But like Diaz, Tucker, Tanner Scott last year, Blake Snell, like they kind of just swoop in there and get these guys, and they do it again here with Kyle Tucker. Luis, what were your thoughts?
I mean, there's a lot of takeaways with this. I mean, first off, season's over. We can just go ahead and get off to October 2026 and go see the Dodgers lift up the World Series trophy, lift up the pennant. It's clearly, when you look at this lineup, I don't think we've seen a lineup this good in the sport. I mean, we've had good lineups, but a lot of these guys are still in their prime. Think about it. You got Shohei DHing, who's an alien. You got Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez, Will Smith, Tommy Edman, whoever they put at second base, and Freddie Freeman, and Max Muncy. Like, honestly, you can't think of a lineup better than that in the sport right now. Want to talk about protection? That is the top tier protection. It's as safe as the Secret Service, as damn near the protection that Shohei Ohtani has around him in the lineup. Like there's so many trap mines, and I don't know how do you pitch to a lineup like that. That's for one. Two, the amount of money given to Kyle Tucker, I think, is astounding. 60 million AAV. I know you talk about deferrals. We talked about the signing bonus. There's a lot going on. And then you can also make the point, we saw a couple days and it looked like last night he was going to be a Met because Cohen came out and said there might be some smoke. But did the Mets just get put into the locker? I mean, think about it. Were the Dodgers always just lingering and just waiting for that big offer for them to boom, make that offer and then beat out the Mets? I don't know. But the contract's number pretty crazy. It's the largest contract right now in annual value behind Shohei Ohtani, more than Juan Soto. And let's just be honest, Juan Soto and Kyle Tucker are two different players on two different stratospheres. You can make the argument that Kyle Tucker is not even a top 5 outfielder right now in the sport. We can have a debate, and I can ask you, is he even a top 10 outfielder in the sport right now? Like, I think there's a lot of people that would want to have 10 other outfielders than him right now.
Judge, sorry, was that a legit or rhetorical?
Both. Let's actually do it. Give me. Okay. Let's do it.
Judge Acuna, obviously, you'd rather have over him. Corbin Carroll. I think I'd rather have Corbin Carroll.
Yeah. I'm giving you two. I'm giving you two for sure because a lot of people will give some pushback with the Acuna thing because of the injury.
No. Acuna's MVP caliber. He's won MVP. Tatis, of course. Rather have Tatis. Yep. Soto, I'd rather have.
Yep.
J-Rod, that's kind of when you're getting into the conversation.
You're at 6 right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think I can get up to 10 before I pick Tucker.
You can make the argument for Christian Yelich, which I think Christian Yelich, I know at this point in his career, he's a little bit down, but I mean, he is a top performer. That is Mookie Betts as well, but now he switched positions, so he kind of doesn't. But we can have the conversation that he's not even a top 5 outfielder, and he's getting about 60 million in annual value, which is absolutely ridiculous.
It'll be 57.1 after like deferrals and all that stuff.
It doesn't matter.
Basically 60 million. Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
It's like 6 million more a year than Soto, and way more than Judge.
But the craziest thing about the contract is that it is such a short-term commitment that if he flames out, they only have his contract for 4 years, and there's opt-ins and opt-outs. So it's just kind of like there's not like that big of like a oh crap, we screwed up and signed this guy for 10 years. That the money is absolutely nuts. And I mean, the Dodgers, congrats, you have a great lineup on paper. I think they'll win 100 games this year. They'll be back into the World Series. They addressed all their needs. I mean, they had that outfield need. We saw it in the World Series in the playoffs. They had that outfield need, and then they had that closer need, and now it's fully complete. I mean, you just better hope you get the Kyle Tucker of Houston and not Chicago Kyle Tucker. It's just crazy that a guy that hit 266, 22 home runs, 73 RBIs, and 500 at-bats with a 4.64 will get 60 million. That is just crazy. And let's just bring Cody Bellinger up for comparison, because I mean, Cody Bellinger is the other big fish outfielder out here in this free agent class, and Cody Bellinger outperformed Kyle Tucker last year. Cody Bellinger had a 5.1 WAR, 29 homers, 272 batting average, and 98 RBIs. Granted, there was more games involved, but I mean, Cody Bellinger offers you that versatility. And I think if I'm a Yankees fan and I'm expecting Cody Bellinger back on the Yankees, this kind of scares me in a way where I think the number might get too high and the bidding might be ridiculous this offseason.
Yeah, the Bellinger sweepstakes now do get interesting because the teams that missed out on Tucker, Mets, Blue Jays, are probably going to turn their attention over to Cody Bellinger because both of those teams would probably like to fill another outfield slot. What does that mean for those negotiations? Is a team going to be willing to actually give him $7 million, the deal that he's looking for? And if they do, what does that mean for the Yankees? Because the Yankees aren't going that far. But with Tucker, look, he's not worth this much money. He's just not. We did the exercise. You can list easily 5 outfielders that are better than him. But the key point is it doesn't matter for the Dodgers. Money is not no object for them. They could have given him $80 million a year, and it's still it wouldn't matter. The luxury tax doesn't matter. Like, you look at the teams that were involved in the negotiations for Kyle Tucker. It was the 3 wealthiest teams in terms of ownership groups in all of baseball. You have Rogers with the Blue Jays, Steve Cohen, who's just insanely rich for one person, and Guggenheim Baseball Group. And you look at the people that own Guggenheim, or the people that are in that ownership group of Guggenheim. There's a lot of very, very wealthy billionaires in that ownership group, including Todd Boehly as a minority owner who owns Chelsea Football Club, one of the most expensive English soccer teams. So this is kind of the point. Like, good for Kyle Tucker getting the money, whatever. This is a problem with baseball, that there's only a handful of teams that are even involved in these negotiations. So a team like the Dodgers that has an insanely wealthy ownership group, of course they're going to sweep in and sign Kyle Tucker, Shohei Ohtani, Edwin Diaz, Blake Snell, all of these guys. Trade for Mookie Betts, extend him. Trade for Tyler Glasnow, extend him. Like, there's only so many teams that can do this. The Dodgers are one of the wealthiest, and they can actually do this. And they've built a winner out there. Credit to them, but a lot of it is on the president, that they just have more money than everybody else, and that's why this is going to get very, very ugly now next winter, when the ownership side of the labor negotiations, they're going to be pushing heavily for some type of salary cap, and probably pair that with a salary floor, which I'm certainly more in favor of a salary floor to get some of these other teams spending. But it's just a straight fact that owners like, he's hated, but Bob Nutting in Pittsburgh, or Hal Steinbrenner in New York with the Yankees, may be a better example. They just don't have as much money as the Dodgers, the Blue Jays, and the Mets. And I do think there needs to be some type of intervention in this new CBA that curbs some of the spending and just makes it more of a level playing field. Because right now, yes, this is amazing for Dodgers fans, but it sucks for 29 other fan bases where their teams just cannot compete with what the Dodgers are doing. And again, like, if you're a Dodgers fan, you're on cloud 9 right now. You don't care at all about that. You've been waiting your whole life for something like this, ownership group like this. So good for you. I'm not getting mad at Dodgers fans. I'm just saying, like, it's not fair to the other fans, especially like Pittsburgh fans, stuff like that. It's just not fair.
Well, I don't want to fully agree with your point, but I'm going to come in and disagree. I mean, I think the biggest thing with the Dodgers thing is just, like, look at it from a baseball perspective. I know I said, they're going to be the new DEFCON. They're going to make it to the end. They're going to be, they're the super team. And, you can blame so many people about it. And I was reading some exercise last night. There's a guy, he's an ex-football player. I can't pronounce his name, but he's on Twitter. But he made the point that LeBron ruined sports in the way. We can blame LeBron for all this BS of these super teams forming. From a baseball perspective, like, I understand, like, okay, you fill the outfield hole, as I said, and the closer hole. But let's take a step back, take the shock value out of this move, and see the X's and O's on this. The Dodgers still really aren't that versatile. Still, you have a lot of guys that are still pigeonholed into 1 or 2 positions, and they're not that versatile. Again, last offseason, last World Series, they were running out Jamel Dean as defensive outfielder. Their outfield was terrible. They were piecing together the infield with sometimes Miguel Rojas and Tommy Edman. Tommy Edman was their center fielder. It's just very interesting that they've gone big fish, which is totally great. Kyle Tucker is an world-class, all-class player, maybe not the all-class, world-class player that we've built up to be, but he's still a damn good ball player. So they're not that versatile if you really do think about it. If you look at the roster, top to bottom, they haven't done a move this offseason to just increase the versatility. And we've seen the teams that have won and those teams that have made it to the end. Like, one of the things that we love about Toronto is that Toronto is versatile almost at every single position. One of those guys can easily play 3 to 4 positions. Looking at the Dodgers roster, Will Smith and Dalton Rushing, those are true catchers. Mookie Betts is a middle infielder and outfielder. I don't think you're going to versatile, but I don't think he's going to be going back to the outfield at this age. Tommy Edman, same thing. Freddie Freeman, only first base. Ha-Seong Kim we've only really seen him play second. Miguel Rojas, only middle infield. Max Muncy, only third base. Outfield, they have Teoscar, Andy Pages, Alex Call. They have Mike Ciani and Ryan Ward. They don't have those pieces like an Ernie Clement that they could just move around like chess pieces. There's not many, permutations of that lineup that you can build.
And that is fair. I don't know if it'll matter this season. They are pretty left-handed. Ohtani, Freeman, Tucker, Muncy, all lefties in that lineup. The only righties they have: Betts, Smith, Teoscar, Tommy Edman's a switch hitter, and Pages. Miguel Rojas is a righty off the bench. They signed Andy Ibanez, which was kind of an under the radar signing. I think that was last week, from Detroit, who did well against lefties. So he could be a bench piece off the bat that they use. Maybe a bit of an under the radar move, but decent bench piece that they picked up. I mean, the star power here: Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Tucker. It's and then you don't even get into the rotation: Yamamoto, Snell, Glasnow, Ohtani, rookie society. I mean, they're one of the best teams I've seen in my life.
They're loaded, but let's take a step back. Let's do this exercise again. Tommy Edman isn't we talked about some of their pieces. Tommy Edman, he's a versatile piece, but this guy hasn't hit over 250 since 2022. He hit 248. 237 and 225. He's on a clear regression path. He posted up a season of 1.1 more. Yes, he's battled injury, and that's another thing. He can't stay healthy. The rotation's great, but again, how are they going to get to Edwin Diaz? Can they get healthy and piece it together to get to the end? Will Edwin Diaz be pitching well enough in LA? There's a lot of things that we can crown them as the offseason champions for doing all the necessary moves to get to the title. And they should be the favorite right now in the NL, overwhelming favorite. But we shouldn't go ahead and be like crowning them as champs, because you can still find and argue holes. Do I bet on them to being the champs? 100%, because they have the best lineup 1 through 9, best rotation 1 through 5, and they have the closer to do it. But it's baseball. Injuries happen. People regress, don't come play the same way they do. We have players in new sceneries, and you just never know how the ball is just going to bounce.
Yeah, you got to go out and play the games for sure. I do think it's interesting that, as I kind of talked about earlier, the two of the wealthiest teams in terms of ownership group were in the World Series last year: Blue Jays, Dodgers. Two of the most active teams in free agency this winter: Blue Jays, Dodgers. The rich continue to get richer. Are we, we're probably going to have a lockout after next season, which might change a lot of things. But if we don't, if they come to an agreement before then, and maybe they don't do a ton to curb spending, maybe there's no salary cap implemented.
Well, the reason
do we just live in a world where it's Blue Jays, Dodgers?
No. My thing is just like the whole thing why we're implementing the salary cap is just to increase franchise values in the future. That's the thing. And I think all small markets want that because they want to increase their franchise values moving on to the future. Again, anybody can make the World Series. I mean, yes, we talk about that money. Yes, does and help you get to the end. But let's look at the teams that were in it at the end last year. The Milwaukee Brewers are built homegrown, and they built with a good development staff.
But we watched that series, dude. The
I know,
Dodgers lapped them. The Dodgers would have won 15 straight games.
I understand, but how many times in the past have we seen teams just flash money and them not work?
Not to this level.
Well, my point is we've seen it happen. The Mets used to flash money back in the day. I remember those Cubs teams when they had Derek Lee, Zambrano, Ryan Dempster. They flashed the money to the daddy. Dempster, excuse me. They flashed the money for Alfonso Soriano. They had that big free agents offseason, and look what they did. They got Lou Piniella. Look what they did. They didn't win the World Series. They were out within the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. My whole point is yes, you can flash all this money, but you have to have the infrastructure. It's like any good business and that's made in this country or any good business worldwide. Like you can have top tier infrastructure, top tier product and everything, but if you don't have the right people and the right culture behind it, like you're not going to be yielding the benefits. And I feel like you look at the Dodgers as well. The Dodgers always used to flash money, and we saw that right at the start of the Guggenheim era or right before the Guggenheim era. And what did they do? They didn't get to the end. Now that they have the right infrastructure set up forth, you're going to reap the benefits because they have the right management in place. They got the manager right. They got the backroom staff right, and you have to applaud that.
Yeah, they're doing everything right. They're very well run. I guess my point is just other ownership groups they don't have the amount of money that they have now.
But it goes down to like, do they want to spend? Right. Everybody can spend, and it's just like, but you can build a team like, for example, the Vegas A's or Sacramento or the Athletics could be that team in the future that we look at when we talk about, looking at this season or next season as that team that can be that young nucleus that can be a bunch of really, really good, talented ball players. You can build that. It just depends on making the right evals and having the right backroom staff to develop the talent. And I think, you do have to give credit that the Dodgers have, done that, put guys in place first in class, and they're right then and there. Look, LA is not a bad place to be making $60 million a year. You're going to get taxed out of the wazoo, but one of the points I do want to hit on is seeing that Kyle Tucker getting signed to the Dodgers. It kind of adds up to the fact that he didn't want to be one of the bigger guys on a team. I mean, on the Dodgers, you're clearly in the back seat behind probably Freeman, Betts, Ohtani, and the pitching staff. In the Mets, you would have been behind Soto and Lindor, but it's New York. And in New York, the media will never let you take a break and will never let you sit back and relax. They're always going to be on you regarding such. And then in Toronto, we know why Toronto is difficult because it is Canada. A lot of players have that connotation that it is Canada. And the fact is that there's sky-high expectations on that team. And looking at how the dominoes are falling, Bo Bichette, it's not looking like we'll be back there this year. So he's clearly going to be a prominent piece into that team. And him signing there would have made the Blue Jays as the paper champions this offseason. And there would have been a lot of spotlight, which it goes to my point that a lot of people have been saying that Kyle Tucker has been a guy that wants to be not in the limelight, wants to be a supporting actor, not the main actor. Doesn't want to win the Oscar for the best actor, wants to win the Oscar for the best supporting actor. And I think look at no further than LA, where he is a supporting actor behind Shohei Ohtani. Not a bad place to do it. LA also is a place where the media really won't kill you. Yes, you will have sky-high expectations, but there's 7 or 5 guys in that lineup or in that team that will have higher expectations or that are bigger stars, quote unquote, that will get more spotlight.
And that's a point I was going to make. So you hit on all the points. Kyle Tucker to the Dodgers makes a lot of sense in terms of fit. It also, I think he can hit he could hit 220, 230, 240 in the regular season, whatever. And obviously, yes, there would be articles written. People would be talking about him struggling. But at the end of the day, it wouldn't matter as long as he shows up in October and has a good postseason. I think about it last year, the Dodgers starting rotation was injured the entire year. Everyone was like, oh my God, what's going to happen with their pitching? There were concerns, and then everyone gets healthy and they figure it out for the postseason, win the World Series. So there's really just no pressure on Kyle Tucker. And I know that there is pressure on him, but in the grand scheme of things, compared to a New York or compared to a Toronto, there's no pressure on him for the 162 games of the regular season. And the real pressure comes in the postseason, which I do think is actually somewhat interesting because if you look at the numbers, Kyle Tucker has not been a good postseason player. 692 OPS with a 233 batting average across 72 games in the postseason. Those are the games that mean the absolute most for this Dodgers team. You can coast in the regular season. Now that he's with the Dodgers, and it's really just the postseason. I don't know. Let's see if he can get those postseason numbers up there.
Well, you said it best right there. You talked about how, New York and Toronto, he's going to get a little bit of flack. I mean, in Chicago too, it was an issue in Chicago. You were there. Caleb made the point that she did not enjoy the Kyle Tucker behavior at points in the season.
Well, he got booed in Wrigley Field for not running out a ground ball.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying. And that's not going to fly in New York. If you do that in New York, you will be crucified. You will be put up on Times Square.
I don't know about that. That's a little intense.
I know, but could you imagine Yankees fan? You imagine all the Yankee Twitter, Yankees fans?
No, it'd be pandemonium. Yeah.
You would put them up on Times Square billboard, like the play, and you would have this is ridiculous. And you hit the points on the head about not being the main character or the best actor in the film. I think the other thing that we do have to talk about in regards to Kyle Tucker is that, you said it best. When you're on the Dodgers, the 162 doesn't matter, quote unquote, because at the end of the day, the Dodgers have gotten to this point with this team is that World Series or bust. That's the whole mentality. They are to the point of these Yankees teams in the early 2000s, late 90s, where you are not graded upon your regular season success. You are graded upon if you win a World Series or not. Kyle, like you said, he can go 220, but if he's hitting in the World Series, if he's driving home runs, if he's doing the right plays in the postseason, that's what matters. And again, we've gotten to rarefied air where the Dodgers season this year will not be graded upon winning games. I think right now we should just care about, are they going to make the playoffs? And I think we are they're going to make the playoffs. That's what
I think it's fair. It's fair to say.
But then it's what matters if it's a wild card or a division. What matters is, are you going to win the World Series?
The Mets offered him 4 years, $220 million. So a very similar type of deal. It would have been front loaded, paying $120 million over the first 2 seasons. That deal would have included a $75 million signing bonus and allowed Tucker to opt out after the second and third season. So the same structure as the Dodgers deal. The Mets offered a higher signing bonus and the absence of deferred money. There is some money deferred, but the Dodgers did offer him $20 million more in terms of an overall guarantee. The Mets AAV would have been $55 million, which is $2 million south of what the Dodgers offered at 57, given the deferrals and everything. So Tucker opts for a slightly richer deal than what he would have gotten in New York with the Mets. And I do think there is a legitimate question to be asked here of where's the competitive spirit? People are comparing it to Kevin Durant. I don't know if it's that level. Maybe it is, but I want to see more drive from some of these free agents, like Tatsuya Imai going to Houston. He said he wanted to beat the Dodgers. He didn't want to join them and just win a ring easily. I understand the monetary value and wanting to get the most amount of money possible. And then he's going to be able to re-enter free agency potentially when he's 32 years old. So he has the opportunity to cash in again. But where's the Mets offer was very similar. It's a very similar amount of money. Go out and try to beat the Dodgers. Toronto, same thing. You can win World Series in Toronto. You're the class of the American League in Toronto. Where's that? Do you want to be on that team that gets over the hump and beats the Dodgers? No, you're on the team that goes out and wins easily every single year, similar to what the Warriors were in the late 2010s. The parallels are kind of there.
I mean, yeah, but the Dodgers are almost the surest thing of getting a ring, and you're making the most money. You are living in LA. Is it
the same type of ring?
But you're living in LA or New York.
Right.
Or living in Canada. No offense to my Canadian listeners. It's just people have their, when you're from America or you're from Canada, and if you're a Canadian and you get offered the same contract in Canada than in the United States, I think as a Canadian you want to be prideful and stay in Canada, in your home nation.
You're just used to the cultures and customs of the United States or Canada. Like, they are different countries, and that is a point that like NBA free agents make. I think MLB free agents too. Like, obviously the tax ramifications as well, but it is a different country, and there is a bit of a culture shock when you move over to Toronto. I know it's not like going to like Tokyo or something in terms of culture shock, but it is different than what life is like in the United States. So I get that side of it. I also think with this signing, players signing based on spring training locations is officially dead. Kyle Tucker, it was rumored that he was going to go to the Blue Jays because their free agent or because their spring training facility is in Tampa, which is where he's from. Like, can we stop with that? I feel like it's never a thing. And it's always something that is brought up at the start of free agency, but it never actually ends up that way.
It's a perk. It's a perk. The more important thing is, where is their offseason home? Like in the case of Corbin Burns is like, oh, his offseason home is in Arizona. I think it was like Scottsdale, they said. So can we unpack this non-Dodgers side with Kyle Tucker? I know we're 31 minutes in here, the podcast. Thank you guys for listening to the Locked In Baseball podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter, X, and Instagram. Make sure you give us like on all social media platforms, TikTok. But can we just unpack it from the other sides, from a total market perspective, in the sense of, now the market shifts to guys like Bo Bichette, Framber Valdez, and Cody Bellinger, which, we can talk about the Phillies, the Yankees, and those in the Mets in that side, and just the ramifications of the Mets finishing second again. I wanted to harp on those 2 points where it's just like the Mets now have gone for marquee free agents, and they look like real fools right now letting Polar Bear Pete go. I understand Kyle Tucker offers more of a speed and defense component, but you were going to pay this guy about, let's look at the contract, 5 by 155 is about $30 million. You're going to pay him about $30 million. I'm just doing quick maths in my head. About $30 million in comparison to Kyle Tucker, who got 60. You're going to pay a guy double, and you still have clear holes in your rotation and whatnot. It just doesn't make sense to me from a roster construction point. Now it's January 16th, and you have the holes still in your lineup that you have to replace the Pete Alonso bat. You have now another hole in your closer spot because Edwin went to the Evil Empire. And then you have the hole of your rotation, which is one of the biggest reasons why you had this historic collapse. I understand you want to be frugal and you want to be making moves that are sustainable and economically smart and fiscally responsible. But as we said, if you are fiscally responsible in free agency, you will always finish second. And now we look at this, and I don't know where the Mets go. Do the Mets now pivot to Cody Bellinger, which I think he's one of the biggest winners off of this deal, because now Cody Bellinger, we were talking about that $30-35 million price range. It's looking like he's going to cash in. And we called Boris an idiot the other day, but it looks like Boris knows more than we do. And there's a reason why you're sitting in an apartment in Chicago and I'm sitting in an apartment here in Miami. There's a reason why he's a professional and we're just some armchair agents right now. So, Cody Bellinger is going to be a very wealthy man. Does Cody Bellinger finally strike something with the Yankees and present the offer to the Yankees? Do the Blue Jays come in? I think that's something we got to look at. Or do the Mets finally hey, we have to save face with this offseason, and we just sign Cody Bellinger to a massive high AAV deal, short term with opt-outs? It'll be interesting to see.
Do you just offer Cody Bellinger a similar deal that the Mets offered to Kyle Tucker?
That's a question. But then it goes again on how organizational malpractice of this offseason it's been for the Mets. And I think that's something that we really have to harp on it. You let Pete walk. Pete walks in that bat you're going to replace him goes for double. Pete walks. You have the holes in your rotation, and you don't have a closer now. So you've essentially gone backwards this offseason. Yes, you shedded money, but you have gone backwards. Congrats that you shedded money. Where are you going to reinvest? Are you planning to reinvest that money? And I think Mets fans have kind of gotten used to and have kind of gotten the MO with the people and the fan base that we're going to reinvest the money. And right now, there's no reinvestment, there's no reinforcements, and you see your rivals in Philadelphia probably going to get Bichette, and you see Atlanta get better.
Yeah, Atlanta got better. Philly, if they get Bichette, is going to get better. Right now, they've just really signed Schwarber. Was their big move this winter, and that's what they had last year. They lost Ranger, which is it's a loss. They're still figuring out the real Muto stuff. But yeah, the Mets are absolutely losers of the offseason so far. Simeon for Nimmo, Jorge Polanco to replace Pete Alonso at first base. I love Pete, Jorge Polanco. Great season last year, great postseason, but he's not, he's not Pete Alonso, 30, 40 home runs a season.
And just not at that price tag.
And,
And I
and
think, and I think that also the bigger point you do have to talk about. I think you're more of a financial, like logical type of guy when we talk about these moves. Uh, I think it's if you go into an offseason and you miss on plan A and B, I think you should just hold pat. And my fear is that the Mets are going to make a panic move here in the next 2 weeks. That they're going to just throw money at a guy that they would have not thrown money at because of what happened, which I kind of feel like the Red Sox kind of did, which we'll talk about here soon. But I think the fear is that the Mets weren't in on Bellinger. They were interested, yes, but not at this price tag. But I think the safe face with the fan base and with how the team is constructed, they're going to throw money at Bellinger and or Framber Valdez.
yeah, I think it'll come down to Mets Yankees for Bellinger. Toronto feels like a third there, but again, they have the money to go out and make the move. It'll be interesting. His market definitely got hotter. I think he'll be the next major free agent to sign. Because we just haven't heard a ton on Bichette. It seems like the Yankees were getting close with Bellinger, and I don't know who the Yankees were bidding against for Bellinger before Kyle Tucker signed, but now there's just going to be more teams involved. But yeah, if you're a Mets fan, it's like, what is going on here?
I got two more points. Before this, I also want to talk about. We need to talk about another loser in this Kyle Tucker situation is the Toronto Blue Jays. The Toronto Blue Jays this whole offseason were in pole position, were in number one spot for Kyle Tucker, and they let this drag all the way to January. And like I was thinking, and I read last night, you're in pole position and you didn't get it done. It shows two things. It shows, number one, that Toronto is not a desirable place to play, even with this World Series. And yeah, go ahead.
In terms of location, or because not team,
but just location and just optics.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's Canada. It's, many people just think because it's Canada, the location, they're like, oh, wow, it's Canada. I don't want to go up there. It's cold. But in reality, it's not that bad. Many players that have gone on up and played in Toronto in the big four professional sports leagues, which it's three because NFL doesn't play in Canada, but many players have enjoyed their time in Toronto. They do enjoy the city. But it just shows you that finishing second, they were pretty much in a one-horse race and they didn't get it done. I think that's very concerning. And as a Blue Jays fan, it's really disappointing that your front office couldn't land that big fish. And again, when it's big fish, big sized fish, like they have issues in landing those big sized fish. Like we look at Juan Soto, you look at Shohei Ohtani, Kyle Tucker's now on that list. When you're landing these big great whites, they haven't been able to get them. They're cool in getting those little dolphins in the sea, like Dylan Cease and whatnot, but not the big great white.
Yeah, the top of the top, the number one free agent in the class, which they have been in on, they have not landed. They've done a better job over the past, off seasoners two of getting those second tier guys like a Cease, who was what some people had as the best arm available in the market this year. I kind of disagree, but one of the better arms in free agency. They got him. They got Cody Ponce, but that's more of a D tier free agent. But taking a flyer on him, he actually could be really good for them this year coming out of the KBO. I see your point. Kevin Gausman in 2021, they brought in George Springer, but they haven't gotten the Kyle Tucker, the Shohei Ohtani. So that is an interesting point.
You were the only team. That's the thing. You were the only team, and you were offering the years. And it's also a big thing that he took a short-term deal that he's going to re-dip into the market in 4 years.
And the Blue Jays were offering him that long-term deal. The long-term security is what's been reported. I don't think the final offer for the Jays has become public yet, but it seems like they were definitely willing to give Tucker more than 5 years. So I think they were the only team that was willing to go more than 5. And I heard 10 floated out there for them. So he opts for the shorter, lower, or higher AAV opt-outs type of deal. Didn't want to be locked into Toronto long term. Maybe honestly, it could end up being a good thing for the Blue Jays not having that money on the on the books.
I just don't understand why. I know there was an overpay, but I don't understand why more teams didn't do a contract structured like the Dodgers. It's just so wild how, and I think it's, the respect and the prestige that the Dodgers have these days is how players now drop those demands to go play for the Dodgers. They've gotten to the point in their franchise where players actually want to go play there and want to go be a part of that culture and be a part of that organization. And where, Kyle Tucker wanted 10 years. Okay, we're going to take 4. It's just simple. The Aaron Judge contract again. I think I want to talk Yankees now, the Yankees offseason and whatnot. I think it's going to be very sad because I don't want to speak in absolutes, but as things are going, I think we're going to have a first ballot Hall of Fame career end without a postseason World Series. The way this is going, and I think Aaron Judge needs to give more credit in terms of how his contract and everything that at the time initially that $360 million looked like a mammoth number, but looking back at it now, that's one of the biggest bargains of the sport. You're signing the best hitter in the game at such a bargain of a contract, and it's sacrificing that to build a team. And it just shows you the type of guy that Aaron Judge is. And I don't want to sound like I'm this Aaron Judge glazer, but Aaron Judge could have easily gotten 400 probably if he wanted to. He could have driven up the bidding and gotten that 400 million. But the fact is that he took the 360. He took a sensible number, allowing the Yankees to build the roster out. It's just you just got a guy that can't get it done in building a roster since 2009. To be honest, it's just something that we can't forget, like the type of teammate and character type of guy that Aaron Judge is.
Yeah, I mean that deal, $40 million a year. Now you're looking at guys like Kyle Tucker getting $60 million a year. It looks like an absolute bargain for the Yankees. And to your point, they haven't done anything this winter. There's still time remaining, so I don't want to do the full State of the Union Yankees conversation just yet. But if we're in a month here and pitchers and catchers are starting to report and they still haven't done anything, they miss out on Bellinger. Yeah, I think we're going to have some serious conversations about the ownership group, about the GM, and just having to shake things up in New York because what they're doing right now is just not good enough. Kyle Tucker was the best free agent. The Yankees used to be involved in the conversations for the best free agent every single winter, and now they were in the periphery in these negotiations. They were never a major player. And again, there is that stuff about him not loving baseball, him not wanting to, I don't know, dedicate his whole life to being baseball all day, every day. Like there's questions about his motor. So maybe that's why the Yankees were involved. I feel like that's not the case. I feel like the reason the Yankees were involved in Kyle Tucker is because they didn't want to give him the money. And, they thought he was out of their price range. So they're going for Cody Bellinger, who's a great player, good player, but he's not as good as Kyle Tucker. He's not worth $37 million a year or whatever that the number's been floated out there.
He's an ex-Astro. GM Judge was not going to allow that.
He wasn't on the 2017 team though.
But there's still that stench. That's
maybe a point. Yeah.
I mean, the things I want to look forward to this weekend, we're going to talk other moves now. Here's what's going to happen with the Mets. Do they make the play with Framber now that Ranger's off the board? Cody Bellinger. Bellinger walks somewhere else. Do the Yankees now pivot to the Austin Hayes market? We'll save him a lot of money, give you financial flexibility and responsibility. The Freddie Peralta news is hot. And I think that's something we should just go ahead and talk about. Let's go ahead and talk about the starting pitching market. I mean, looks like Freddie Peralta is going to get moved. Looks like the Yankees and Mets are at the forefront of those discussions. You got Framber. Looks like Framber and the Mets are linked. And then we had Ranger Suárez, which let's go ahead and talk about Ranger Suárez. Ranger Suárez, 5-year, $130 million. Breslow finally did a long-term move, becoming Boston's first big long-time move as Boston's CBO, Chief Baseball Officer. It's his longest free agent deal ever so far. Bregman, he gave 3 years, which turned into 1, as you guys know, as he's now a Chicago Cub. The Sox came into to that offer coming into the only one of the 30 major league ball clubs to not have signed a free agent this winter, but they finally did it with Framber. It's a benchmark for Boston. Boston fans can finally get off of the rocker and off of Breslow's back because he finally did it. A move. My thing about the whole Ranger Suárez move is like you see that they have all these young arms. You have Peyton Tooley, you have Sonny Gray, you have
I wouldn't categorize Sonny Gray as young.
I'm not saying young, but you
said young arms.
Oh,
they have pitching depth.
Yeah,
Peyton Tooley and Connolly earlier are the young arms.
Sorry, I completely misspoke. I'm thinking about it. Was Ranger Suárez a need or a luxury? I think Alex Bregman was a need and not a luxury. And I think Alex Bregman, it was 5 years by 175, $40 million cheaper with Ranger Suárez because Ranger Suárez was 130. I think it's kind of a panic move to get the fans off the back. And my thing is like, you don't need Ranger. And it's not a sure bet that Ranger's going to perform in Boston. And again, Breslow's very anti long-term moves. And he made a long-term move here when he could have just kept the sure thing in Bregman, who's produced there, slapping balls, as you say, off the monster. And,
Well, it does raise the question of, do they decide to trade one of these young arms and earlier Tolley? That conversation is very real now that they have some more pitching depth, more of an established big league arm in Ranger Suárez. The thing with Suárez is he's not a workhorse. Since debuting with the Phillies in 2018, he's never made more than 30 starts in a singular season. His fastball velocity also, it dipped almost 3 miles on average from 2023 when he was at 92.8 miles an hour to 2025 where he was at 90 miles an hour. But he is very elite at generating soft contact and mixing in various pitches. So he's a crafty lefty. I don't know how he's going to age. I think he's age 30 season next year. He's an elite playoff pitcher, which I think is something that Boston values. I mean, he's got a 1.48 ERA in the postseason across 11 games and 8 starts. So we know that he was elite with the Phillies in the postseason. Now the top of that rotation, Crochet and Suárez, I think that's a very, very good 1-2. I put Crochet in that conversation of the best in terms of starting pitching in Major League Baseball. He's that good. He very well could have won a Cy Young last year. He was right there neck and neck with Tarek Skubal. Then behind that, you got Sonny Gray, who age 36 season. We'll see. He's hit or miss. Bigger market for him. He's more of a small market pitcher, had an ERA above 4 last year in St. Louis. Brian Bayo is still young, but he's been floated in trade rumors all offseason. And then Johan Oviedo, who they got with from Pittsburgh, he'll be 28 next season. Another depth piece. And then they have those 2 young arms. Also Patrick Sandoval, who's been very injured. Tanner Houck's after the season with Tommy John. Carter Crawford got wrist surgery in July. So they have a lot of pitching options. I do think there is the opportunity there to go out and trade some of that pitching depth, whether it be early Tolley or a Brian Bayo, younger guy, but more of a big contract there, and go out and get a Brendan Donovan. Go out and, trade for a second baseman of the sorts. And I don't think they're done. Was this a panic move? Maybe. I would have rather them have spent the money on Alex Bregman too, but they do have young talent in the infield with Marcelo Meyer and Christian Campbell. So all in all, like, they're spending money, and now that rotation is one of the best in the league.
I don't know. It's debatable. I just don't think this is a move they needed to do. Like I would like to say, I think the biggest thing is like when you look at how the market played out with Schwarber and Pete Alonso in that 150, 155 range, I think Bregman is lumped into those guys. And when you look at the deferrals and everything, it was going to be a value of $161 million. It was like Buster Olney said in this tweet, it was a real major miscalculation by Breslow and company. Boston will be good. They'll be in contention. They do have pitching, but there's still question marks in that lineup, and I want to go see them get a bat and fix it up. Could they maybe pry Ketel Marte and just do it? I know it's over, but could they make that like last-ditch Hail Mary and try to go get him?
Marcelo Meyer in there. I guess they just got their third baseman of the future, though, which we can talk about now. Well, not third baseman of the future, but third baseman for the next 2 years, in the sense that the Cardinals have traded Nolan Arenado and $26 million to the Arizona Diamondbacks. In return, the Cardinals receive a right-handed minor league pitcher, Jack Martinez. He was Arizona's 8th-round pick last year in the draft. The monetary stuff with this deal is very interesting. The Diamondbacks are going to pay $5 million in 2026 for Arenado and $6 million in 2027. So of the $42 million remaining on his deal for the next 2 seasons, Colorado will pay $5 million, Arizona will pay $11 million, and St. Louis will pay $26 million. Luis, what were your thoughts on that move?
I mean, it's a sneaky move. I kind of like what they're doing. It kind of just depends what happens with Arenado's bat. I think we know that the Gold Glove defense is there with Arenado. It just depends what's in the bat. Arizona is a tough place to hit, I'd like to think, in my opinion. I don't think it's very hitter friendly. That center field is pretty deep. It'll be interesting to hit, but I do like the move. We're getting to the point with Arizona that they're getting lumped into the middle of mediocrity. Like they're becoming the my equivalent of like those like LA Clipper teams we grew up with like Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, where they're good ball clubs, but they're not ball clubs ready to like compete to the end and be World Series caliber. They're like a step below. Again, they need a third baseman. They're not going to pay much. It's kind of a very frugal move. I like it, but again, what are we building towards is my thing.
I like the move a lot for Arizona because they're not paying anything for Arenado. Like I said, $5 million and $11 million total for him. A guy that can play Gold Glove defense. I know the defense has declined a little bit, but he's getting older. The bat was really bad last year, but again, he struggled with injuries and he had no protection in that St. Louis lineup. Next year, he'll have some legitimate protection with, Perdomo, Marte, Carroll in that lineup. I don't think they're not World Series caliber, especially with Corbin Burns injured, but they have some legitimate talent to be interesting. And I think the goal next season for Arizona is to get back into the playoffs. Again, the Dodgers in the division is not ideal. You're dealing with just the Death Star that is the Dodgers. Certainly has an impact on the Giants and just the D-backs, the Padres, the other teams in that division, the poor Rockies who are somehow in that division. Dealing with the LA Dodgers, the true full spectrum of Major League Baseball spending. But I think it makes sense for Arizona. They needed a third baseman after, they were in the Bregman negotiations a little bit, it seems like, but never were like a major factor. So they didn't get him. They pivot to Arenado. And then I think from the St. Louis side of things, dude, I mean, when I saw this trade, the first thing that comes to mind is like, of course, yes, it makes sense getting rid of Arenado. It was the end of the relationship, but my first thought was, dude, that team is going to be so bad next season. Like the Cardinals could very well be one of the worst teams in all of baseball next season. And on top of that, you look at the money that they're paying players to not be on their team next season. $22 million for Arenado, $20 million for Sonny Gray, and $4 million for Wilson Contreras. That's $46 million to players not on their team. Now you subtract out $5 million that Colorado, according to Roster Resource, is paying for the Arenado deal. So 42 plus 49 plus 4 is 46. So $41 million to players that are not on their roster next season. And Mason Wynn's fun. He won a Gold Glove at shortstop last year, plays great defense, obviously. Got JJ Weatherholt coming up, top prospect. That'll be fun. I think he'll be on the roster next season. But dude, Brendan Donovan's gone next. Like, this team is going to be so bad. I know it's year one, Heim Bloom. They're just kind of starting fresh, retooling completely. But for a team that is as storied as the Cardinals, they've won the second most World Series of all time. They're totally irrelevant right now.
I think this rebuild was long overdue. They've kind of been trying to make it work with this core, which was the Goldschmidt and Arenado core, and it just ran. It went on too many years. It passed its expiration date, and now we're at this point. They have been able to develop hitters. We can talk about the failed developments of Cardinals player dev, where they can't develop guys like Harrison Bader, Tyler O'Neill, Jordan Walker. Next guys that we're looking at as lab subjects is Mason Wim and Victor Scott, who I think those are two guys, that are very athletic, toolsy type of guys, but the bat has to come to them. So it'll be very interesting to come. What's to come this season? They could be the worst team in baseball this year, top 5 worst. They're not going to be as bad as the Rockies. They're not going to be – the White Sox might be better than them this year, not going to lie. But, yeah, it's deep. I mean, that division, I met a Pirates fan this week here in Miami, and
wow.
Yeah, which that's an interesting combo to have. He was telling me that the Pirates could have a top 5 rotation in baseball this year, which
top 5 was new.
But then I thought about it, it's plausible.
Top 5 is aggressive. I can Skeens, Bubba Chandler,
Jared Jones, Mitch Keller.
Yeah.
If all goes well, I mean, it's plausible. I mean, I thought at first I was like, wait, like let's pump the brakes. But looking at that division in general, where the Cardinals are at, like, they're clearly the worst team. I feel bad for our guy. I wonder how did he text him and ask him how he's doing about the trade?
We talked about it, yeah.
What was his initial thoughts? Paraphrasing.
Let me pull up the chat. I think he said, "Oh yeah, gonna take a lot of cleanup to fix what blank did."
Yeah, John Mozeliak.
Yeah. He used other words to describe him, but yeah.
But I mean, it's just like, I mean, Arizona. I mean, why don't you just complete baseball and complete just the past 10 years of baseball? Go get a Goldschmidt, 1-year deal, retirement contract, get the jersey retirement ready to go. Diamondbacks legend.
I think it's going to happen because
reunite Goldschmidt and Arenado one more time.
Platoon him against lefties. The Cardinals roster resource is something I've never seen before. Every single starter they have listed in the lineup signed originally with the Cardinals. All homegrown guys right now. I've never seen that before.
They're gonna stink. Do they have anybody else good on that team? Do they have any trade deadline fodder?
Right now, Brendan Donovan, but we know he'll get moved before spring training. Ivan Herrera is pretty good.
They'll move Donovan by deadline. I don't think it's a slam dunk that he moves by spring training, probably by deadline.
Newt Barr, Nolan Gorman. Alec Burrow. It's pretty grim. Rotation, Libertador is decent. Dustin May is a project. Andre Palant. Yeah, it's rough, man. Jojo Romero is a good reliever.
I know. He's always been a Yankee Twitter darling. He's like, yes, please. But
they should trade him.
But yeah, I mean, let's go Yankees. I mean, Ryan Weathers trade. William, tell me about it. Brendan Jones, Dylan Lewis, Dylan Jaso, Juan Mateos. I mean, Ryan Weathers, Tennessee guy. Good stuff. Had some experience down in San Diego and in Miami. Pitched pretty well down here in Miami. Issue with Weathers has always been, can he stay healthy? William, how you feeling about this move?
Well, the World Series is back on when I saw this move for Ryan Weathers. So congratulations to Cashman. We didn't want Cease. We didn't want Tarek Skubal trade. We wanted Ryan Weathers the whole time. So shout out to Cashman for getting it done. It seems like Dylan Lewis is kind of the main prospect out of those 4 that they traded that might turn into something, but he was blocked in New York with the outfield that we have. He was never going to really play. He's a fast rising prospect though. So that is a name worth thinking about. Yeah. And to your point, the thing with Ryan Weathers is he's always been injured. Last season, when he was with the Padres, he was kind of came up as like a reliever out of the pen, and then he kind of morphed into a starting role. And last season only made 8 starts. Season before that in Miami, 16 starts. Like, he has not stayed healthy. Had a lat strain last year. Had a forearm injury last year. Fastball kind of gets spanked around, which is a little bit of a concern. But he's got a good changeup and slider sweeper thing. And he throws hard, but then again, everybody throws hard nowadays, so I don't know how much stock to put into that. I think this is a Yankee developmental bet. The Yankees feel like they can fix him, maybe get the fastball, have some cut on it, fix the injury stuff, maybe fix his mechanics to where he's not getting injured as often. I don't know, but it's a depth signing in terms of rotation. Maybe you use him in the pen later in the season when Cole comes back, when maybe Schmidt comes back. I don't know if that's going to happen this season though. So It's not the most exciting move, obviously, but it could end up being a good move. He's got 3 years of control. The talent is there. The pedigree is there too. Like he was the 8th overall pick in this draft in 2018. So clearly, the Padres saw something in him to pick him with their first pick in that draft. It's just a question of staying healthy and kind of fixing some things. It's a project, but it's a good deal.
Vandy baseball commit as well. Do you forget that? Another Yankees are collecting the Yankee Nepo babies here today.
Yeah.
His dad was a Yankee, won a World Series on that 96, 97 team. Again, Yankees have a thing for those. I mean, they got Cody Bellinger. They had. Question mark. They have him, and then they have Ryan Weathers. They're just collecting them. I mean, I think if your dad, if you have any lineage to the Yankees, Cashman will make it happen somewhere or another. But you can be really good Dominican player, and it's like, oh no, that's too high of a price. Like, no. Like Edward Cabrera, though, we're not giving up anything. Like we're keeping our prospects. Let's prospect hug.
Yeah, well, it seems like for Cabrera, they were asking for Dylan Lewis, Jason Dominguez, and more, which is kind of crazy. He's got injury history too. That's the thing with the Marlins. Like the Marlins are kind of becoming the team maybe you don't want to trade with.
I know. Well, can we talk about the Freddie Peralta before we get off quickly?
Sure.
Heyman said it's looking likely that he's going to get moved. And it's Yankees Mets. How would you feel about a Peralta reunion up in not reunion, but a union in the Bronx or in Queens if it happens?
A move for Freddie Peralta and signing Cody Bellinger would actually get me excited again for this Yankee season. We're not there yet, but that would be because if you look at Cole, Fried, Freddie Peralta, Cam Schlittler, all of a sudden, Rodon, when he comes back, that's the other name I missed earlier. That's the best rotation or one of the best rotations next to the Dodgers in the league. Like I would be very excited.
You probably have to give something like a Heel and a Dominguez or Heel and like high level outfield guys like Hampton has or Heel and LaGrange or Heel or Elmer Rodriguez Cruz.
Yeah. It's 1 year, but it's only $8 million. Like it's no money. So
and then you would probably have to shell out something like a 7 by 210 contract
to get him back.
30 a year, something like that. Cease money.
I think the Yankees would let him hit the market. Who's his agent? That's a question. I'll look that up right now.
Is it Boris? I'm tired of the Boris. I'm tired, boys.
No, Aces Baseball.
Okay, thank God it's not Boris. I'm tired of Boris, man. It's getting to the point with Boris negotiation that if Yankees fans see that it's a Boris client, might as just move on to your next target. Question: would Freddie Peralta and Austin Hayes do it for you? Get you ready for the season?
No.
It has to be Cody.
Yeah.
Cody and Peralta. I think I can live with a Peralta and Hayes.
It just depends on the money. And I know fans really shouldn't care what the ownership is paying, but clearly it matters for the Yankees, so it should matter for the fans. Depends on how much you're paying Bellinger and how long the deal is.
But as it looks like now, I would be happy with Hayes and Peralta.
Yeah. If it gets into the 37 range, for sure.
It's already in the 30s. I don't want to go anywhere. I'm already at the top part of the market. You're bidding against yourselves. Like I'm done. Like I'm tapping out here. I don't want opt-outs. I don't want opt-ins because I did read that there could be opt-outs and ins. No. Let's just do Austin Hayes 1 year, $9 million, and Peralta. And let's run it. Let's run it back.
Platoon left field, Austin Hayes and Jason Dominguez.
Let's just run it. Let's just see what we got. Well, I don't think Dominguez is going to be on roster if you get Peralta.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I think
so Austin Hayes, the full-time starter in left field?
Yeah, just run it.
That's concerning.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do? It's January 16th, William. What are you going to do? It's Martin Luther King weekend.
Go trade for Tarek Skubal.
Yeah, William.
Not happening.
Are you George Steinbrenner? Is he still alive?
I wish. What happens? And you know what's next with the Dodgers? Tarek Skubal, $400 million deal. Unless
that won't happen.
Why?
Because Cohen's gonna get so PO'd that he's gonna put in a locker all offseason that he won't let this one, like he'll put his foot down and get it done.
450. Cohen gives Skubal 450, 500.
Cohen goes ballistic. He does the trade and goes ballistic or something. Like he'll do it.
Are you saying Tarek Skubal trade this winter?
I don't know about this winter, but if the season goes south with the Tigers, let's run it. Let's go. At this point, get them into your organization for 3 months for the stretch run and get them ready to go in New York. And then,
man, what happens?
I'm just saying.
When Tarek Skubal signs with the Dodgers.
It's going to be the Mets. It's going to be the Mets. Save the clip. We'll look at this in a year. It's going to be the Mets. I'm telling you right now. If I'm the Yankees, there's no good moves out there right now. Let's just go get Freddie. Get Freddie and go get Freddie Peralta and Austin Hayes. And just run it.
Okay.
Why not? Why not? You don't seem inspired. I don't want Mackenzie Gore.
Because they need another bat.
But there is no other bat. That's the problem. They're not going to do the trade for Brendan Donovan, and they're not going to pay the money to Bo Bichette. So you might as well just go freaking get the best what's out there and just piece it together.
Why can't they? They need an outfielder. Tucker's off the market.
There is no outfielder.
Cody Bellinger.
He's too expensive. I think we both agree right now that at this price point is the max price point I go. I am Breslowing this deal. That's a new verb. But I will not go higher and bid against myself. I'm sorry. This deal is just not going to age well. Think about it. It just will not age well.
Yeah. Time will tell.
And you will get Freddie Peralta and Austin Hayes. Because if you get Bichette, where is he going to play? Where do you play Bo Bichette?
Second, trade Jazz.
For what? What is available for Jazz Chisholm Jr.? What is Jazz's value in the market?
I don't know. He's a pretty good player, but he strikes out too much for me.
Exactly, but Jazz Chisholm was acquired for Agustin Ramirez. Does Agustin Ramirez touch the Yankees lineup?
Was Agustin Ramirez in that deal?
Yes. Big Gus.
Augustine, yeah. Jared Serna, Abraham Ramirez. Yeah.
My whole point is, where does Bichette play?
Third. Well, he'd play short for a year, and then once Jazz is gone in free agency, move him over to second. No, I would feel good about that.
Volpe is playing short. Volpe's playing short.
Probably.
Getting you ready for the summer. Volpe's playing short. Jazz is going to be a second baseman. McMahon has to be third baseman because of the defense, which is crazy that that trade is looking bad now because of the money that got eaten up. Not much money got eaten up off that contract. I understand that the Yankees got put into a corner because of how the team was constructed and, the slide that they had in the summer, like the June swoon. But that Ryan McMahon trade is not looking good looking at the other third baseman deals right now in the present day market.
Yeah, it's a lot of money for a defensive third baseman. He's got to figure it out at the plate this year. And there is a world where the Yankees either trade him or, go out and get another third baseman at the deadline if he's not hitting in the first half.
And he's an interesting guy, and I think you admitted this firsthand this season. He's an interesting guy because how many years have you clamored for a Ryan McMahon at third base? I think Yankees fans have been pounding their hands at the table about Ryan McMahon, and you said it, quote unquote, this year. It's, oh my God, it is so nice seeing a dribbler going to third base, and then just have to not worry about him, scooping the ball up and making a routine throw or a great throw to first base and getting it out. But now that you guys have him, it's kind of oh, he can't hit. Which I think that's kind of always been the thing. He hasn't been an absurd great hitter. He's streaky, but he's not a good hitter.
Yeah, he strikes out last season 32% of the time, which is the Yankees have too many high strikeout guys. But we keep talking. We're rambling at this point. I think we can get out of here. I think we hit everything. I'm ready for baseball to start, man. I'm sick of just talking about free agent deals. I'm ready to watch some games. And the good thing is we have the WBC this year, which could be the purest form of baseball we have, considering what's going on with the Dodgers right now.
Kershaw made it. Kershaw's trying to finish baseball.
Complete baseball. Yeah, he's like Thanos with all the Infinity Stones or whatever they're called.
You got some good games down here in Miami. You got the Netherlands, Venezuela game, Israel, Venezuela, Dominican Republic, Netherlands, Dominican Republic, Israel, Netherlands. Good battles.
Dominican Republic versus Venezuela in Miami, I believe. We'll be there next or in March for the quarters or semis. I'm still figuring that out, but we'll be down there. Mm-hmm. Going to be fun. So yeah, it's right around the corner, 20 something days till pitchers and catchers. We're getting there. We're almost done with the offseason. It's been over 2 months since we've had a baseball game. So I'm ready for this thing to get started. Ready to get back into the grind of you know, the regular podcast routine twice a week, recapping games and everything. But
my body needs it. Like this morning, I felt like back to the podcast mornings, like waking up 6 a.m., getting ready to go, like getting the body ready. Today was a good spring training start for us. Getting us ready for the team previews.
Yeah, we got to do our spring training too. That's fun.
Today was a long toss this morning. Yeah.
Preview season coming next month. Josh Molinex said he wants to come on for the Red Sox one. So
that'd be fun.
It'd be fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you got anything else?
That'll be it. I mean, DraftKings over unders. I don't want to talk about that because that's something next week. Next week.
Next week.
Next month.
Next month. Well, they did come out, so interesting. But they'll move as these deals progress.
Are we DraftKings this season? FanDuel, Hard Rock, Caesars. Are we Bet 365? Like, what sportsbook are we using this year? Hey, I would prefer Hard Rock Bet. I mean, being a, or maybe fortune favors the brave. We go Caesar Sportsbook.
Well, we're not a gambling. We don't really talk about gambling as much. I just like referencing the over-unders because it gives you a good sense of like where teams are heading into the season and what they're projected to do. I don't know. DK is what we normally use, I feel like.
The crash out parlay. No risk-free parlay.
Yeah, all that stuff. Okay. That's it. Kyle Tucker is a Dodger. And some other moves, Yankee talk, good conversation, Luis. We'll be back sometime next week. Enjoy your trip this weekend. Stay warm. Thank you all for listening. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.